Hey guys, how y'all doing? And welcome back to the channel. My name's David and I fix RVs. And today I'm going to be installing this residential style 120 volt heater in an RV. Normally when you use these in residential, you go with 240, but we've only got a 30 amp service in here, so this is what we're going with. And when I worked as an electrician, this is pretty much all we used, for about 20 years. This is by far, Pic-A Watt Heater is by far my favorite. And then we're going to install a thermostat for the heater right up in this here area. Once I take it out of the box, it should fit in there. Let's get started. I'm going to start by removing this panel cover. If you guys watched last week, we took off this panel cover because I installed a tanked water heater under the sink. And she's saying it doesn't heat up quite as much as she would like, so she went to Home Depot and talked to them about it, and they're gonna give her another water heater exactly like the one that's under the sink, and we're gonna swap it out because they're just thinking maybe this might be a bad one, but I highly doubt it. I'm probably gonna have to install and reinstall a couple of these before we're finished. But yeah, let's get started taking this panel apart. Yeah, I've got the drain line for that pressure valve outdoors, but like I said, I'm going to be swapping this water heater out, so I'll install that after I install the new one. Now I've got my box cut in. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to run wire to this box from the service panel over here. And then I'm going to run another wire from this box down to the heater, which I have not cut in yet. Sorry guys, I forgot to hit the record button, but I did cut this heater in. I'm going to go ahead and shove that in there now. See if she fits. There we go. Yeah, I think I'm just going to screw it in flush right here on this lip. Now we're going to get my Romex sleeved into this flexible conduit. There we go. It's a lot easier to get your wire in there before you install this stuff. Once you get 90s and corners, it just kind of jams up on the edges. It can be done, but it's a pain. Well, I got this flexible metal conduit installed going up to my thermostat up here, but I've run out of flexible metal conduit, so I do need to get one little jumper from this box. straight down to that heater. I'm going to be coming in this little void down here too, right into the, let me turn side hole of that heater. I was hoping to do the whole thing in flex, but unfortunately I'm short about 2 or 3 feet of this stuff. I think I got a full roll at home, but that's a long ways away from here. So this is what I've got here so far. I've got my power coming into this box from the panel. Then I've got power jumping back out of the box down to the heater. So one wire is coming from here, power in. The power in is the line. This thermostat here is just like a GFCI. I don't know if you can read that, but it says line right there on the right, and then it says load on the left. So when I'm wiring this stuff up, I usually set it up to where my line wire is straight like this. And for all my loads that go to like heaters or lights or anything like that, you put a little curly Q on them, and that helps you remember which wire is your line and which is your load. So on this particular thermostat, red is line, so that's going to hook up here. And then my black is load, and that's going to hook up right over there. Then you always lead with the stranded wire. Make sure that one's in the front. If it's back here, it's not going to hold very well. These wire nuts are called super tans. It's for 14 gauge and 12 gauge. Reds are for 12 gauge and tan is for 14, so they work on both. The only downside is they're a little bit bigger than a tan, so they might take up a little more room in the box. And the neutrals just get tied together on, inside here, and they get pushed through. This is a 120 volt heater. If this were a 240 volt heater, these white wires, you'd have to paint them black with a Sharpie, and you'd have 2 lines and 2 loads going out. There would be no neutral if it was 240. But this is 120, so this is all we need to do here. The tricky part might be getting this thermostat to line up with the holes on this box, because this little bar here is going to make it tricky. That's a tight squeeze, but we got the cover on there. All right. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we did swap out that water heater. This is a 2.5 gallon, and she's not liking this one either. It says on the thermostat that it gets up to 125 degrees, but when I check it with my thermometer, it's only getting up to 93. There is a good chance that we might be pulling this little water heater out of here too. I know I've pulled a couple of water heaters, or installed and uninstalled a couple of them here already, but we might take that out possibly in the future and just cut in an actual RV water heater. I would have to cut the whole thing in from scratch, but that could happen. Now we can make our wire connections. I like to cut this ground off to about the same length. Right there. Make sure your stranded wire is in the lead. Now for the heater. This is a Pic-A Watt heater too, so you can, let me put the camera on that, disconnect wires or connect wires depending on how many watts you want to come out of this heater. We're going to try all 1500, but we're kind of pushing our luck though. We'll see how that goes. Got my stranded in the lead. You know, so if they do start tripping breakers, we can also always change the wattage on this heater. As you can see, you can take off 750, 500, 250. We've got all kinds of settings here that can be dialed in. Okay, I think I've got it lined up. Let's see. There we go. Let's throw on this cover and see how she looks. There it is.
Look at that.
The homeowner said they might paint it black, but we'll see. Or they wonder if they make a black one. I don't think they do. I think they just make white and ivory. She was just thinking something to match these brownish cupboards here. If we paint it, it'll probably just start burning the paint right off. I don't know. I probably don't want to do that.
No.
Alrighty, I've got my new breaker in there, my 20 amp breaker. We've got our thermostat installed, and there is the brand new Pic-A Watt heater. I'm gonna fire this thing up now. We're gonna see if she's working. No, it's definitely working. Yeah, I can feel the heat already, guys. Oh yeah, feels good. So now we're doing an amp draw test. She's got a little bedroom heater plugged in. All these little heaters are, this is probably 1500 watts. That's what, you know, the big ones, little ones, mediums, they all seem to be 1500. Then we've got this 1500 watt, 120 volt Pic-A Watt heater down here. And we've got the new electric water heater, which, as I said before, might be going bye-bye. And I've got my amp meter hooked up to the 30 amp wire here, and we are currently pulling 19.56 amps. We have 30 available before the breaker trips. So there you go. She just turned the microwave on, and now we've jumped to 31.27. This breaker should trip. Yeah, we've exceeded the limit.
Okay.
We definitely cannot run the microwave with all that stuff, but let's see what we've got. See,
Yeah,
she's got another...
Now just wait for a second or two, because and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the...
She's got a little water heater up here on the counter she uses for tea or something. We're just seeing what that brings us up to. Yeah, even that brings us up to 27. So what we're talking about now is we're just going to have to turn this thermostat off.
Okay.
You know, anytime she's using any of her appliances.
Okay,
you know, now we're down at 16.
Now just a second. I'm going to turn the one off in the bedroom.
Okay.
And we're going to turn this one back on and see if that makes any difference.
Okay, I'll turn it on now.
Okay, I'm going to turn this one off.
That's probably going to be too much. $21.23 amps. 21.22 to 21.23.
Okay, so when I was using the heater in the back.
Yeah, so we have decided to disconnect this yellow wire, which equals 250 watts. Blue is 500 watts. You could take off 750 with the orange, but like I say, we're going to disconnect the yellow wire and take off 250 watts. That should keep these wires from overheating. And these guys literally just plug right on here. I'm just going to grab that, and there you go. We've subtracted 250 just that easy. All right, guys, I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.